Tonight on a special ETALK.
I'll be honest, teenage Chloe and me, like, she is freaking out right now that I get to hang out with you.
25 years, 10 studio albums, countless awards, and hit after hit after hit. The Foo Fighters celebrate 25 years of all things rock and roll.
First of all, when we started this band, nobody thought that it would last this long.
From dropping their new album, Medicine at Midnight, in the middle of a pandemic.
Last year was supposed to be the biggest year of the band. We're like, 25th anniversary, 10th album, we're gonna take over the f***ing world, man.
To finding themselves on the short list of nominees for a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. And an epic internet drum battle with a pint-sized powerhouse 10-year-old from the UK.
I started thinking like, oh my God, I'm getting my ass handed to me by this 10-year-old kid from England. Like, this is nuts.
Get comfy, because the next 30 minutes is dedicated to one of rock's biggest bands. Welcome to ETALK Presents Foo Fighters.
It starts at 5 o'clock in the morning. This is how it works. I wake up at 5 in the morning just so I can have 1.5 hours for myself. Look at all the things I'm supposed to do, respond to my emails, then I wake up, chocolate chip pancakes, slicing up fruit, making the bacon, getting the kids dressed, get them in the minivan, out the door to school, run back, take a shower as fast as I can so that I can sit here, do the Zoom interviews, and then I go straight down to the studio and then rehearse and record all day long. And by the time I get home, I'm like, okay, you know what? Tonight, I'm having a drink tonight. And then I'm too tired to have a drink and I pass out.
I just want to give you a virtual hug, because here I thought I was getting rock legend, icon, Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters celebrating Medicine at Midnight, and really I'm getting Dave Grohl the dad trying his darn best to do everything, including taking a shower, which I appreciate. I can't smell you, but I feel like you smell fresh.
Well, you know, knowing that it was a Zoom call, I had to make sure that this was on point. I haven't had a haircut in like a year and a half, man. Like, that's one thing that I haven't done. And I'm kind of into it, because I'm like, by the time we get on stage, I'm gonna look like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. Like, by the time we actually get back on the road, it's gonna be insane. I look forward to it, to be honest.
25 years in the music industry is something most bands only dream of. For the Foo Fighters, it's a reality. And after 10 albums, they're still hungry for more. And ready to celebrate as soon as COVID-19 gets out of their way. Who knows when you can go back on tour? I hope it's soon. I've seen you perform. It's magical. It's so magical. But you're giving the world music. Medicine at Midnight, congratulations. I mean, this is album number 10. 10 with over 25 years as a band. I mean, so when you look at this record, like, what does it mean to you, especially given everything that's going on in the world right now?
You know, it's nuts. First of all, when we started this band, nobody thought that it would last this long. Like, we thought like, oh, this is fun, let's do it for an album and go hit the road and play some shows. And then after we were done with that, we kind of looked at each other, we're like, should we do it again? Like, yeah, all right, let's do it one more time. And then we would do it one more time and go out on the road for a year and a half and do the thing, and then come home and say like, okay, should we do it again? And then we do it. And so it's been like that for about 25 years. And at this point, every time we come home from one of those huge tours, it's like, I am never doing that again. No way. Like, I'm exhausted and I'm sick of this and blah, blah, blah. We come home, and then 2 weeks later, I'm on the couch writing more songs. And I'm like, okay, I can't wait to do this again. So, you know, to me, the reward is survival, really, to be honest. Like, just being able to live a life where you make music with your friends, you get to meet incredible people, you get to share these songs with hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people around the world. You know, it's like reassuring. It makes you feel like, oh, there is connectivity in this world. And, oh, there is like romance and there's love. Human beings need to do these things together. We need to sing songs together. Even in the last year, where you're like locked down and trapped at home, it could be the most frustrating thing, but you remind yourself like, oh no, wait, there's music and people have to share this. And whether it's like on Zoom or in a field of 100,000 people, like, this is what we have to do in life. So it's, you know, it's great.
It's huge, you know, it's a massive accomplishment. I never would have guessed 25 years later that pack of ding-dongs from 1995 would still be a band. Now we've got like backup singers, we've got our own studio, and we travel around the world, and people know who we are, and we just got nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So yes, dreams can come true. It's in my bones, you know? And then you become the kind of person that likes to do that more as time goes on. Just becomes a part of your DNA. I love playing. I love being in a band with a group of guys. It feels like a little posse of bandits running around the world, making fun of stuff, and then getting up and hopping on stage and playing to a bunch of people that know all the words to the songs and sing along. And when I go to work, it's every night for most of the people in the room. It's a party. It's my job, but like for everybody else there, it's like this is their party night. Like, how could that get old? You know? And you don't do it all the time. It would get old if it were like every single night. But we do it in these chunks, these fun little chunks. Then you come home, then you got a normal life, you recharge, and then you go out and you do the weird thing.
But the pandemic threw a serious wrench into their 25th anniversary celebrations.
You know, last year was supposed to be the biggest year of the band. We're like, 25th anniversary, 10th album, we're gonna take over the world, man. We got stadiums lined up everywhere, and it's gonna be amazing. And then, you know, everything just stopped. But it's the type of thing that, you know, you can't put too much into like those little anniversaries. If you just let them happen, then they happen. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe we'll go for 30, maybe we'll go for 40, who knows? All I'm looking forward to is what we're gonna do later today. Like I know what I'm going straight down to rehearsal, and we get to like practice and practice and practice, because the minute someone says, hey, there's a show they want you to play, I'm the first one there.
You're like, my bag's packed. I'm like, everything's tuned up. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Like many artists, COVID led to the decision to delay the release of new music. In this case, their 10th studio album, Medicine at Midnight.
Last year obviously didn't go according to anyone's plan. And, you know, this was, of course, recorded pre-pandemic. Last year happened. You guys kind of held out on releasing it. 2021, here we are. Kind of an awesome start to the year. You decide to put it out. Like, why were you finally like, okay, I'm just gonna share this. I'm gonna share this.
Well, because that's what music is for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that at first, of course, a year ago when everything really shut down, we're like, oh, well, maybe we'll just cancel the spring tour. And then it's like, oh, well, maybe we should cancel the summer tour. And it's like, oh, maybe we should cancel the entire tour. Oh my God, this is crazy. But we write these songs to be heard. We write these songs so that people can hear them and you know, find some like escape or joy or happiness, whatever it is. Like that's what music is for. That's what music has done my entire life. I would turn to it in the worst times or the best times, and it became like my best friend and my worst enemy.
At the second reschedule, I was like, okay, you know, what are we gonna do? We can't just like wait this thing out for the perfect time to put out the record. It's getting to be a little long in the tooth, and we're anxious to get it out. So we just picked a date and put it out. That's really what it was. And now it's here finally.
Knowing that we couldn't go out and do the thing we always do, play big shows, I was like, well, that's not enough of a reason to keep us from sharing it with people. So I finally snapped. I was like, this, dude, put it out now. Like, let's just do it. I know we can't hit the stage, but come on, like, what are we doing? I mean, it got to the point where we were like, it's our new old record, or it's our old new record. It's like, what? You can just let it sit around. And I'm such a spaz that when I wake up every day, I'm like, let's go. I gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do this. And seeing something that we put so much work into just sit on a shelf, I'm like, that can't, people gotta have it. So give it. Let's do it.
It can't be sitting on a shelf collecting dust. Like that's not okay. And especially like this album's fun. It's like a little bit different. There's like some like cool dancey kind of tracks to it. And then you still got that like classic rock feeling. So thank you for being the spaz that you are, and for saying we need to take it off the shelf and put it out into the world. Because like knowing you, I have a feeling you already have like your next like 10 songs written. So you gotta like put it out to make room for new ones.
I mean, to be honest, like my friends consider me terribly annoying because all I do is say like, oh, guess what we're doing next? Guess what we're doing next? Because every morning, that 1 hour in the morning that I have to myself, I'm just like, okay, what's next? What's that? The last year of isolation and quarantine and stuff,
yeah,
you know, nobody was just sitting there waiting. It was like, oh, really? Okay, now I actually have time to do the 50 things that I've always wanted to do. And so now those things are catching up with me. Like all of the stuff that we did in the last year when people thought we weren't doing anything, this year is going to be so bananas. You're going to get so sick of us. It's crazy. Because I can think of 5 huge things that we're completing this week that will roll out this year where you're just going to be like, God, do these sleep? Like, what the hell?
Up next, more of the Foo Fighters, including Dave's epic drum battle with a 10-year-old pint-sized powerhouse drummer.
And I start thinking like, oh my God, I'm getting my ass handed to me by this 10-year-old kid from England. Like, this is nuts.
That's coming up when ETALK Presents Foo Fighters returns. Welcome back to ETALK Presents Foo Fighters.
2021 is gonna be a good year. It's already starting off great. Like, you dropped this. We gotta talk, of course, about the nomination for Foo Fighters, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, 25 years of blood, sweat, and tears, and a whole lot of creativity.
From their debut album Foo Fighters in 1995 to Medicine at Midnight in 2021, the road to this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nomination has been lined with millions of albums sold, countless awards, tours, and shows around the world.
What does it mean to you? I know you're no stranger to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but like with Foo, like what does this mean to you?
I know, it's kind of weird to think about. I think everyone should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think, there's artists that have been around for 50 years that haven't gotten into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's new young artists that are so good. I think they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's kind of funny. But to consider our band a part of that, I don't really know what it means. If they want to give me the trophy, I will hold it. I'll put it right next to my bed, I'd be super into it.
When you found out, like even just sitting thinking about it, like it's a pretty serious accolade.
It is. It's huge. I was scared of it for a long time because, obviously we're not 25 anymore, right? It's like, oh my God, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What if we get nominated or inducted? Then it's just going to feel like we're old. And for some reason, when it actually happened and we got the nomination, it felt like it was supposed to, which is just, it's a moment of pride. Even if we don't get in, just the nomination, just a nod that like, it's been noticed that like our band had an impact. Like, I'm proud of that.
Dave's no stranger to the honor. He's already a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, inducted in 2014 as part of legendary grunge rock band Nirvana.
I'd be most excited for all of the people that have helped us get to where we are. I mean, we've had the same road crew for 25 years. We've got this organization, a really tight organization of people that we've all been together for 25 or 30 years. It's not like some big, corporate skyscraper full of people at the Foo Fighters headquarters. It's literally like 12 to 15 people that have known each other half our lives. And so it's very like grassroots, organic, very pure, and it's very simple. So someone like Taylor Hawkins, Taylor's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Man, he deserves to be. He's the best drummer in the world, and he's worked his ass off for it. Chris Shiflett, and Rami, and Nate, and Pat. And then there's a lot of people that I think deserve it. And so if it were to happen, I would be so excited for all of them because of all the we put up with the last 25 years, It's been amazing.
Yeah.
But, there are moments where you're like, oh God, this better be worth it.
2021 marks the group's first year of eligibility to enter the Hall of Fame, but they have some stiff competition with an incredible list of nominees in the running. This year's nominees include Tina Turner, Iron Maiden, Jay-Z, Carole King, and Rage Against the Machine, just to name a few.
I think it's so awesome to hear that it's the same kind of crew, it's the same team, kind of like pulling it through, continuing it on. So fingers crossed for you and the entire team. The nomination list is stacked, but I mean, it's Foo Fighters. It's got to happen.
Listen, there are people on that list that I would put way above the Foo Fighters. You talk about Tina Turner, you're talking about Carole King, you talk about the Go-Go's. I mean, there's a lot of women that need to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It needs to be a thing.
The nomination list is stacked. I mean, it's stacked every year, but this year, I mean, you've got you guys, Mary J. Blige, list goes on and on.
Devo.
Huh?
Devo. You probably don't know this. The only tattoo I have is a Devo tattoo. I'm rooting for those guys. I love them. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, I guess, to be even like alongside Devo, I guess. Like, you guys are in the mix with some awesome heavy hitters who have made such a long-lasting mark on the music industry.
Yeah, it's stacked this year. If we get in, it'll be I don't know, it'll be a miracle. There's some heavy hitters there.
I would be perfectly happy sitting back and toasting each one of these amazing artists as they get their induction. You know, it's a big party for me. It'd be great.
After the break, Dave's drumming skills are put to the test.
My friends were like, no, dude, you need to step up. Like, you have to respond to this. Like, you have to represent.
That's coming up when ETALK Presents Foo Fighters returns. Welcome back to ETALK Presents Foo Fighters.
I have a feeling the world will be hearing the name Nandy for a very long time. We got to talk about, I mean, look, Dave, there's so many things I want to talk to you about, but this I just had to bring up.
Okay.
What an incredible 10-year-old, and what an epic drum battle. I want to take a moment to like celebrate her skills. Tell us what that experience was like, because watching it, it's an absolute trip.
10-year-old drum enthusiast Nandy Bushell has gone viral with her videos all over Instagram, showing off her pint-sized power and bringing the beats.
So about a year ago or more, Butch Vig, who is Nirvana's producer, sends me this like Instagram link thing. And he goes, wow, dude, check out this kid. And she was playing a Nirvana song, the song In Bloom. And I'm watching it, and she's, you know, tiny. And she's on this like big drum set. She's beating the out of this drum set. Not only just like nailing all the parts, like she could easily play what I was playing, but she did it with this energy and this fire. She's like, wow, wow, wow. And when she would do drum rolls, she'd scream. She's like, ah! And like most drummers don't do that.
But if you want to be the best, you have to dethrone the best. So Nandy challenged Dave to a drum-off.
Mr. Grohl, you're a legend. It's an honor to battle with you.
So I'm watching it like, oh my God, this kid is bananas. And then 8 months later, she challenges me to this drum battle thing. And everyone's sending me this. All of my friends are like, have you seen this girl? Have you seen this thing? She's challenging you. And at first I thought like, oh, that's cute, you know? But then my friends were like, no, dude, you need to step up. Like, you have to respond to this. Like, you have to represent. I'm like, okay. So, you know, I responded. And then she like hits me right back and just kicks my ass with some other drum thing. And I started thinking like, oh my God, I'm getting my ass handed to me by this 10-year-old kid from England. Like, this is nuts.
And for Dave, this battle was about more than just making amazing music with Nandy.
The thing to me that was the best part, or the reward of that, was the reaction that people had and their response to it. People would watch this 4-minute long video and they would smile and it would like warm their heart. And I thought, wait a second, this is what the internet is for. And it was really, really inspiring to me, because it was right then that I thought, we got to put out a record, because this is what it's for. If one of our songs could have the same effect on someone that Nandy had on me, it was huge. And, you know, footnote, she kicked my ass. So
I didn't want to bring it up, but I was gonna
she smoked me, dude.
There is more to come when ETALK Presents Foo Fighters returns. Welcome back to ETALK Presents Foo Fighters.
Over 25 years, 10 studio albums, tours, countless shows, a lot of them right here in Canada. What do you hope the next 25 years holds for Foo Fighters?
Dude, I'm just thinking the next 25 minutes that there's not traffic that's gonna, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be late to the studio. Like, I can't even think about that. I'm a much more like in the moment kind of guy.
What do you hope the next 25 years holds for the Foo Fighters?
I don't know. You know, I think we did a good job of not being the same. You know, we've gotten to film projects and we have made records that are interesting and different and done different kinds of shows. I want to keep it loose, you know? I want to keep it fun and loose and see what happens. I like it when we expand from just being recording, touring band and do projects outside of that. I think adapting and changing, continuing to find fun stuff to do to keep it interesting. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
We're lucky to be alive. We're lucky enough to experience these incredible moments in life, whether they're good or bad. But when it's happening, you have to recognize that it's happening and be in it, because they're fleeting. They go by so quickly. And if you take a chance to to get into it, then your life is a collection of moments that just lead to the next. So 25 years, who knows? We didn't think we'd make it this far. I can't imagine how we'd get any farther than this.
ETALK presents Foo Fighters will return in a moment. Welcome back to ETALK presents Foo Fighters.
Well, Dave, how about we make today great? Thank you so much. Really appreciate this. You are an icon, a legend. Everlong makes me cry every time. Thank you for this. I really appreciate it. And good luck doing all the things, wearing all the hats, being the best spaz out there.
Thanks, Chloe. That's very nice of you to say.
Cool. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Bye. See y'all.